Welcome to Government Contracting Weekly, sponsored by AOC Key Solutions Incorporated. Government Contracting Weekly is the only television program devoted exclusively to the competitive and dynamic world of government contracting. A world where coming in second place is not an option, but where principle-centered winning is the only approach.
Good morning and welcome to Government Contracting Weekly. I'm Jim McCarthy, the owner of Key Solutions and the host of this show. This morning, we are once again sitting down with our friends at the Department of Homeland Security for a conversation that I know will be of interest to our audience as we probe the strategic plan for DHS as well as exploring future opportunities. Joining us this morning are Dr. Nick Nayak, the Chief Procurement Officer for the Department of Homeland Security. Good morning, Dr. Nayak, and welcome back to the show.
Good morning.
Good. And we also are joined by David Dasher, the head of the contracting activity, Office of Selective Acquisition, or OSA, at the Department of Homeland Security. Good morning, David, and welcome to Government Contracting Weekly.
Good morning.
And I'm pleased to welcome Dennis Smiley, head of contracting activity of the Office of Procurement Operations at the Department of Homeland Security. Good morning, Dennis. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, and thank you.
Gentlemen, I know we have a lot to cover. Our audience is quite anxious to hear it, so why don't we get right started. So, Nick, the first question I'd like to ask you is your purpose of being here today. What's the message you want to deliver?
Yeah, and so I've been on the show a couple, 2-3 times.
You're a veteran. You're a veteran.
And the purpose is always to openly communicate with industry. This is a wonderful opportunity to get out to industry at large. Today, I've brought, we have 9 heads of contracting. Those contracting offices, those 9 contracting offices spend the $18 billion a year to buy things to protect the country. Today, I've brought David and Dennis with me, and together they represent a significant portion of that spending.
Okay, so 9 heads of procurement. That sounds like a loose configuration, maybe, or a confederation of various entities, or is it one enterprise? How do you look at that?
Great question.
Yeah.
It's one enterprise, and while all 9 do not directly report to me, through my strategic plan that we established in 2010 when I came on board, which everyone signed up to and endorsed, we have a set of priorities supported by performance metrics that everyone's bought into, that we talk about at the beginning of the fiscal year. We actually hand out goal and priority letters to each one of the 9 heads of contracting. We have a mid-year checkpoint, and then at the end of the fiscal year, we look at all the metrics to see that things are moving in the right direction. Overall, are we buying things to protect the country at the least cost to the American taxpayer while fulfilling all kinds of public policy, not the least of which is meeting small business goals?
And small business goals, and some of the work that your agency does obviously is classified. And so I think you have the Office of OSA, or Office of Selective Acquisitions. Why does the OSA exist? What does the group do?
Well, essentially the Office of Selective Acquisitions has a portfolio of contracts that we handle that are classified or sensitive on the behalf of the department. The Department of Homeland Security it accumulates a lot of different components that have sensitive, law enforcement sensitive, classified sensitive. 2 of our components actually touch into the intel community. And we help to support those acquisitions so that when we go out with a request for proposal, that request for proposal is protected in the proper mechanism so that our adversaries, our adversaries that want to do harm to us, cannot see those kind of procurements that are coming out.
And in the spirit of open communication, where there's classified work done in the government, and David, I think would agree with me on this, typically you don't hear a lot of communication.
Right.
Right? It's easy to sort of hide behind.
Which is the way it should be.
Yeah, which is the way it should be.
It has to be.
It has to be.
Yes.
But at the same time, they're buying things to protect the country, so to the maximum extent possible, David gets out to share what he can so that we're ultimately connecting with the right companies, again, to do the very, very important work of classified buying.
Absolutely.
And you have some ground rules, and the contractor has the same ground rules,
Absolutely.
and you have to make sure you
and to add on to what Nick said is that notwithstanding the fact that we don't do full and open competition through the Fed BizOps, we do competition in other ways where we reach out to, in some databases, to 8,000 vendors.
I was going to ask you, how do you communicate when there's a requirement if you don't use Fed
exactly.
BizOps?
So we use a classified database that one database that we use, depending upon the requirement, reaches out to almost 8,000 vendors. So we can do not a full and open competition, but certainly a competition that's very sizable that can bring us, good value.
You're saying it's still highly competitive, even though it may be classified.
Another one of our databases that we use, we have about 2,000 vendors in that database, depending upon the requirements that we have.
Okay, well, now let's switch to Dennis for a second. Dennis Smiley, you're the head of the Office of Procurement Operations. Yes, sir. What is your recommendation that for what a company should do if it wants to crack into DHS for the first time? What do they do? Help us out here.
Well, there's no magic number, there's no magic way. What I say to companies, I meet with companies daily, and I invite them into the office, meet with them, and what I say to companies is don't stop bidding. Continue to bid.
Persistence.
Be persistent. Come in and meet with us, and also I'll tag them up with the individuals within my office. Right. I got 12 different divisions in the office that handles anywhere from research and development, information technology, enterprise acquisitions. So I'll team them up with those individuals, my division directors, as well as the program manager.
The other thing I would say, and just to add to what Dennis is saying, is essentially it's stay in the game. I know it's tough, but it's tough in any business. So stay in the game. The other thing I would mention is 1,700 companies connected with DHS for the first time ever. So
when was this? Last year?
This was last fiscal year, yeah. And every year it's roughly in the thousands of new companies that get a contract for the first time.
Well, here's a question that sometimes the industry asks. You talked about your database of 8,000 and all this stuff. Is it possible that you all think you have enough competition? That you don't need any more competition? What's all this stuff about competition, Jim? We got plenty, or are you always looking for it? Any one of you?
We probably all will answer the question. Dennis, you go ahead
exactly.
first, and then I
We're
will.
always looking for competition. Competition is going to drive what we do in contracting. We want full and open competition. One, we're spending taxpayer dollars. Yeah. So that competition will drive not only the best quality product, but the best quality price. Right. So that competition keeps everybody on the even keel, and it keeps us, on our toes as well, because we have to do a thorough evaluation. Mm-hmm. So when we look at competition, competition is with everybody. It's small business, it's large.
David, it's important, but is it more important than low price nowadays?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And let me give you an area. One of my portfolios that I support, and I can say this very openly because it's on the front news and the front page of every newspaper. It's one of the president's top initiatives. It's one of the department's top initiatives is cybersecurity. We talk about those 8,000 vendors, okay? Many of those vendors that I'm dealing with have a classified system. They're able to deal in the classified world. However, we recognize that a lot of the answers are not necessarily through people with classified capabilities, right? Yes. So we need to reach out to the classified capabilities, and then we can talk to those folks and say, look, here's our problem set. Hey, do you have to go to Silicon Valley? Do you have to go to the local Virginia area?
And I realize there's a plan that underlies all of this. And when we come back from our commercial, I'm going to ask Nick Nayak to sort of talk about what's next. What are your priorities for the upcoming year? Okay.
So, did we win that government contract?
We did.
And now we've got to deal with the regulatory hurdles.
Well, good luck with that.
When the government's your client, you need to play by their rules.
And the rules change more than you think.
Exactly. We need someone who's done this before.
Plus, it's complicated, so we're going with BDO. BDO?
People who know government contracting know BDO.
AFCEA has been bringing government and industry together since 1946. By joining AFCEA, you'll reach the decision makers and become part of the discussion. You'll increase market visibility, gain market insight, receive discounts on AFCEA member services and events, and manage and engage corporate associates. AFCEA is the association of choice. Join today at www.afcea.org.
Question for you. Do you lack an overall effective win strategy? Hi, I'm Jim McCarthy, owner of Key Solutions. For over 30 years, KSI has helped clients win or retain over $130 billion in government contracts by providing the keys to winning. Now, if you're chasing a must-win contract, go to our website, aockeysolutions.com, and click on Win. It's a tough market, don't go it alone. Dr. Nick Nayak, the Chief Procurement Officer for DHS, tell me a little bit about your priorities for the rest of the year.
Yeah, the priorities for the rest of the year, first of all, to spend our money responsibly. That's the highest overarching priority. But mine are the same as the beginning of the year and there. We've got to get good people, continuously do things to get good people in. We've got to meet all of our contracting metrics, which are I think we talked about it, competing as much as possible, doing things to get a good deal. We've got to do things in terms of program oversight to make sure that programs are on track, so quality program management. And then finally, even though there will be a heavy load of work between now and the end of the fiscal year, doing everything we can to communicate with industry so that we get the best contractors in to do the good work at DHS.
Okay, well, I'd like to now return to one of our favorite topics on this show, which is low price technically acceptable, LPTA. I'll ask any or all of you, is LPTA as bad as some people say?
I would just say it's the application of LPTA that could be bad. And we've had an open door. So any company who's bidding on something, who sees or sniffs out that there's an inappropriate use of, or they believe there's an inappropriate use of LPTA, can come and talk to us. But certainly it is a tool in the toolbox for certain requirements that that should be used. Now,
do you think it's overused in any case?
I don't know that we have enough information to make a judgment on whether it's overused. What we hear is a drumbeat coming from industry constantly that LPTA is on the rise. We haven't actually seen that, and any time it's been brought to my attention and I investigate the specific issue, I've found, at least so far, that it hasn't been inappropriately used.
Okay, and in DHS, then the metrics are such that it does not support the case that it's being overused as a contracting instrument.
Not to my knowledge. And again, it's something that we're looking at. But I do want to say one other thing, Jim, and I want to throw it out to the other panelists here. And that is, what is low price in the end? Even if in the end you end up awarding something low price, technically acceptable. I mean, let's just use an hourly rate, for instance. Let's say you end up paying $200 an hour for whatever labor category. Is that low price? Is $300 low price? Is $400 low price? What is low price?
Well, let me ask the same question. What's technically acceptable? There doesn't seem to be any common baseline or common measure of merit of what constitutes technically acceptable. So who decides?
Yeah.
But I believe, it's the way the requirement is written. You have to write the requirement. When you're talking about technical acceptable, low cost technically acceptable, I mean, you have to remember, price is always a factor. It's always going to be a factor. And low cost technically acceptable is another best value way of doing procurements. But you have to consider price. But you also have to consider, when you're looking at technical, I said, you have to look at those to say, are we evaluating properly? Right. So if we put that technical requirement in place, those factors have to reflect what that technical and what we're looking for.
Does it ever bother you that you might be placing the security of our homeland in the hands of the lowest bidder? Is that a concern?
That is a concern. If that were the case, that would be a concern. We need to have access to the best companies in America, large, medium, and small, to do all the things that are required to protect the country. So yes, it is a concern. And again, open door. If there is a specific instance where somebody sees that it's being applied and it doesn't lend itself to that, bring it to our attention.
Right. Jim, let me give you an anecdotal actual case that just happened in my office. I would be very surprised in the 5-6 years that OSA has been in existence that we have ever had an LPTA award. Like we specifically said, we're going to award to the lowest price technically acceptable. I don't believe that's ever happened in my organization. So we had a best value effort about 2 months ago. And the evaluation came through. You know, we graded for the technical management, and as Dennis says, cost has got to be a factor. And it came through and said, okay, excellent on technical and, you know, good on this and so on and so forth. But we did have to do a trade-off, and we had to say, is it worth it to the federal government, right, when we had goods and excellence and this and that, to pay a premium, which was upwards around, I think, I believe it was $8 to $15 million additional. So we awarded at the lower cost of this. Now, we also had people say, well, that's lowest price technically acceptable. That is not what we did. And so in their mind, just because we awarded the lowest price technically acceptable, we felt that was the best value.
It still was the best value.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I also want to add one more thing to that, and that is sometimes an incumbent will lose and they will say, you're awarding this low price technically acceptable. Well, in some instances, whatever it is that we're buying, ultimately we could get it for a better price. So there has to be a sort of a real circumspective discussion around this versus sort of saying, we've noticed this as a trend, but we don't really have any data.
It requires a sort of communication that you've actually received an award for recently, is to talk about that. So when we come back, I'd like to find out whether or not technically acceptable and low price is just a sort of a substitute for mediocrity. We'll come back right back. I'm Jim McCarthy, the owner and technical director of AOC Key Solutions, and I invite you to join us and our partner, the Government Technology and Services Coalition, for the 2014 Mentor Awards presentation. The Mentor Awards recognizes exceptional individuals who have contributed to the success of our market by mentoring small businesses to provide the best innovation, professionalism, and expertise to our federal partners. The event takes place on June 12th from 5:30 to 8:30 p.m. in Arlington, Virginia. It will feature great food and festive cocktails. This is an excellent opportunity for you to network with both industry leaders and top federal government procurement officers. Individual tickets cost $75 or $50 for GTSC members. For more information or to register, go to gtscoalition.com/mentorawards. I hope to see you there.
Working in contract management is a complex job. Creating, executing, managing contracts. It's an ever-changing world, and our members share the same challenges. At the National Contract Management Association, we know this business, gathering the best minds in our field, furthering your career by providing knowledge and training. Together, we've figured it out.
Okay, we're back now. We're going to have to come back to this whole issue of LPTA. I know it's contentious, okay? But isn't it really just a code word for mediocrity, low price? Just the minimum you have to do. Just do it. That's all. We don't want anything else.
No,
code word.
I absolutely disagree with that. I think there's always a balance here in the government, and the government has to make balances. We balance cost, schedule, and performance, and we have to overlay that with price. If somebody, the analogy or that you always hear is, would you go up on a space shuttle, at the lowest price, technically accepted?
Would you?
No, and the answer is absolutely not.
You wouldn't.
But there is a balance there, right? There's a balance of when you buy technology that has got to be top-notch technology, you do not want to balance that off. But there are other procurements, and some that I don't even deal in, because like I said before, I don't think I've ever done an LPTA in my career. I was in R&D many years, and we did not go to the lowest price technically acceptable offer. But but it's part of the toolbox. It's got to be part of the toolbox, because what I always try to do is I always try to make a correlation to my home life. I say, I come up with a budget in the, I've got a problem with my sink. I've got a hole in my sink, and you know what? All I can afford to pay is the guy who's got the lowest price, and I have to accept that. And hopefully he's a certified bond and so on and so forth. He's the lowest price, and I'll have him do that job.
I got to tell you guys, industry is skeptical. They understand. Okay, pencils and maybe patching your sink, but not highly classified, mission-critical things. So help me out here. Right?
And I don't think we're in disagreement in that respect.
Yeah, no. I do want to say something.
Okay.
What I want to say is, show the example. Okay. Let's stop generalizing about LPTA. Let's come up with the examples that this particular procurement looks like it was LPTA and it shouldn't have been LPTA. okay? Then we can have an informed discussion. Other than that, all we're doing is speaking in generalities about LPTA.
Yeah, okay.
The other thing, Jim, is that's important is that, and this has just been, it has been driven by OFPP, it has been driven by the Undersecretary of Management, the current S1. Dr. Nayak is industry engagement, early and often with engagement, okay? With going out with RFIs, going out with RFPs, so, draft RFPs. These are the times when people can certainly and should say, hey, wait a minute.
So Dennis, you don't buy the notion that government has now evolved to the point where low price, in fact, is best value?
I don't buy that notion at all.
Okay, tell me why.
That notion, we set and we refine requirements. We really refine requirements. We put out the draft RFPs. We meet with industry on all major procurements, constantly meet with industry. I mean, a major one we got out now with Enterprise Computing Service we're talking about. Industry day, industry day, industry day. Meeting with them and getting their advice. So we have one-on-ones with them. They help us develop various requirements, not proprietary, but requirements in there. So we got to look at that and we develop those. So that low cost technically acceptable, it fits in different areas. If you're buying desks and chairs, I mean, okay, we get that. That's a fit. But what you have to realize, though, is once you get down to, in your final evaluation, if all factors created equal and someone offers a lesser cost, you've got to weigh that cost in there and say, wait a minute, all these factors are created equal.
Yeah, remember, at the end of the day, these are taxpayer dollars, too.
Exactly.
That's true.
Right.
So, well, we only have about a minute, so I want to ask a question because there seems to be a little gulf here, and I hope shows like this narrow the gulf, but maybe what is it about industry that puzzles government officials such as yourselves? Is there something that we do that I just don't, why are they doing that?
Yeah.
What do you think?
For me, there's really nothing
Well,
that
you've been
puzzles.
on both sides.
I was on
I
both
know you
sides,
have,
yeah.
yes, yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know. These guys may have
do you think?
an interesting perspective.
What puzzles you?
For me, some of the puzzling parts of industry is, you put a proposal together, industry puts a great proposal together, and they submit that proposal to us. Some of them, get different groups to put their proposals together, and that's fine. But once the proposal's in, what puzzles me is they think we can turn around the proposal and evaluate the proposal in less than a day. And that's not realistic. I mean, the industry has to realize they put a lot of time into developing that proposal. And they had a lot of corporate, they say, hey, we got to get it evaluated here. It's got to go to corporate. It's got to have legal review. They got to realize that we do the same. Because we do the same, and we place value in that.
I'm afraid out of time. Off camera, Nick had made a suggestion that someday maybe we ought to get a procurement official from a contractor and a procurement official from government and sit the two of you down and have it out. So maybe we'll do that. So we're going to step away right now. When we come back, I'm going to ask you gentlemen for your last thoughts, okay? Thank you.
As you've seen from watching our show, we've begun to produce and air commercials. And the response from prospective advertisers has been very strong for a couple of really smart reasons. First off, advertising in Government Contracting Weekly has virtually no waste. Our audience is made up almost exclusively of contracting executives and procurement officers. If that's your target market, we've got you covered. Secondly, we include commercial production within the reasonable cost of an advertising schedule. And even better, in producing your commercial, we utilize the 30-plus years of experience of Key Solutions, who've helped their clients win over $130 billion in contracts, in part by scoping out and refining the most impactful message. If you'd like to learn more, contact us at governmentcontractingweekly.com and click on Advertise.
We're back now for the final word. Nick, what is your one takeaway you'd like to leave with the audience?
Watch this show, and I hope we've shared something of value.
I love it. I love it. David, your one takeaway.
It's just been a great opportunity to be here talking in front of the audience and looking forward to to working with industry and bringing on our people to raise to the challenge.
Okay, great. That's really good. Dennis, give our viewers some news they can use.
Well, news you can use, continue to partner with us. Continue to express your ideas.
Partnering. All right. Okay, well, at this point in our program, those of you who are regular viewers know that we pause here to answer some letters that we get from our audience. So we're going to pause right now. We're going to talk about solutioning.
Good morning. A friend of mine is new to business development and recently said to me, I'm working my first proposal, and in our stand-up meeting we hear a lot about the technical solution. We even have a solution architect. I'm supposed to contribute to creating it, but what does a technical solution look like? And what's the standard of merit to determine a superior one? I love that question, especially the second part. A technical solution is the technical approach, generally a mix of products and services that the offerer will provide to meet the government's needs. It's what you're going to do and how you're going to do it. Now, onto the standard of merit. Ask a technical solutions guy and he will often use words like advanced technology, cutting edge, sophisticated, etc. Those might be the right words, but in my mind, the gold standard of technical solutions is like playing horseshoes, where the closest to the horseshoe stake is the winner. And the stake is the government's desired solution. And it may or may not use advanced technology, be cutting edge, or be sophisticated. Your job is to get as close to the stake as possible. That's the gold standard. And knowing where the stake is, that's the job of business development and capture. At Key Solutions, we're all about helping you retain or win your next contract. If you have a question, please visit us at governmentcontractingweekly.com and click on Inquiries at the top of the page.
At Government Contracting Weekly, we measure each show by how much useful information we can provide that literally helps you win government contracts and thereby helps serve our country's mission. Thanks entirely to this morning's panel, I believe we've achieved our mission quite well. So I'd like to thank our guests, starting with Dr. Nick Nayak, the Chief Procurement Officer for the Department of Homeland Security. Dr. Nayak, it's always a pleasure having you on the show.
Likewise.
Okay. Next, I'd like to thank Dennis Smiley, the Head of Contracting Activity for the Office of Procurement Operations at the Department of Homeland Security. And finally, let me thank David Dasher, Head of the Contracting Activity Office of Selective Acquisition for the Department of Homeland Security. But most importantly, I would like to thank you, our viewers, for once again making Government Contracting Weekly a regular part of your learning regimen. Now, on behalf of all my colleagues at Key Solutions, I'm Jim McCarthy, and I'll see you next week.
You've been watching Government Contracting Weekly, sponsored each week by AOC Key Solutions Incorporated. Government Contracting Weekly is the only television program devoted exclusively to the competitive and dynamic world of government contracting. For additional information, comments, questions, or suggestions, please write us at governmentcontractingweekly.com.